Hello all you fellow musicians and gamers out there, this is Clarinetgamer here, and I am here, yes, finally, with my top 10 best PS1 demos list. Now, I'm only going to be doing the top 10 best PS1 demos list because I kept dragging this out, and the reason for that was because I recorded quite a lot of demos, as you may have seen on my YouTube channel, and I didn't really have the time to make a top 10 worst PS1 demos list as well. I'll be honest guys, I try to review every single demo disc that well, maybe not in full in depth like detail, but brief reviews of each demo disc, and honestly it was getting really tiring for me to do something like that. So I thought I would just maybe do 20 odd demos or something like that and do a top 10 list based off of that, just a top 10 best PS1 demos list off of that. I know, so there's going to be a new series coming after this. So I'm looking forward to that, and it's got the potential to be really exciting, and it will definitely increase my video editing skills a bit further. It'll develop my video editing skills, should I say. Also, for this top 10 PS1 demos list, video footage will be provided in the appropriate places for this top 10 list. So, without further ado, let's begin this top 10 list. Number 10 is PS1 UK Demo 37. Now, the reason why I chose PS1 Demo 37 was because, well, I quite enjoyed the demo. It was really enjoyable, and it had quite a lot of game genres on here. Like, for example, it ranged from platformers, had a platformers, shoot 'em up, racing, and football games. So that's one reason why I like this demo. And as far as it goes for the quality of the content, as far as it goes for what's on this disc, we'll start things off with Tombi, or Tomba as it's called over in America. It's a great platformer. It's got some wacky characters in there, like Tombi himself. It's got a really colourful environment, and it's a very long demo with no time limit, which is good because that means a lot of new players that are playing that demo will get to experience, will get the full experience of that game at the time. And I should have said as well, from these perspectives, I'll actually be talking from my past self of how excited I would be for these games coming out. So my hype meter, my excitement meter for this game would be 5 out of 5 for those reasons. Now, G Darius. Now, this is a Gradius type of shooter. I really like this because of the gameplay and, well, in particular the arcade style shooting, sound effects and graphics. I really like Gradius. I mean, or G Darius, should I say, is a really good game. And I would say my excitement meter for that, for me getting that game, would be, well, 5 out of 5 yet again, because, well, it's a fantastic game. I mean, I really like it. I mean, if you really like Gradius, then I would say G Darius will be the game for you. Now, moving on to the next game, we have Scars, which is it's a fun racing game, although the controls can be a little awkward at times, but the graphics are also really good as well. So Scars has quite a great soundtrack as well, so my excitement meter, I was about to say hype meter, my excitement meter for that would be 4 out of 5. And the next demo on this disc is Test Drive 5. Smooth controls and gameplay. The music is also good, and the graphics are good as well again. And there's really nothing much else to say about it, because I mean, Test Drive 5 has standard gameplay, and it was quite exciting to play it as well, so 5 out of 5 again for the excitement meter. And the last demo on this disc is WLS98, which is a World League Soccer, I think that's what it stands for, 98, and a standard gameplay for a football game. I mean, that's all I can really say really. Football games are just football games, that's what they are. No more, no less. So my excitement meter for that would be 3 out of 5 because of well, not because I don't like football games. I mean, football games are okay, but they're fine, I mean, I guess. I mean, if any of you like football games, then please let me know in the comments below for what your thoughts are on that PS1 game. So anyway, my excitement meter would be 3 out of 5 for that one, like I mentioned. My overall hype meter, and I calculated this when I did the brief review, was 4 out of 5. And the quality of the content itself, I would say, is 8 out of 10. So the overall score for that would be 15 out of 20. And the reason why I gave it number 10 spot is because it had maybe too many racing games on there. Maybe it could have been balanced out a bit more with another game, like maybe a fighting game for example. Could have been a better balanced out. So anyway, that's number 10. Number 9 is PS1 UK Demo 34. Now, this demo has quite a lot of game genres. It's got a brilliant range. It goes from action to racing to fighting action adventure, wrestling, and a tactical shooter games as well. There's a lot of games on there, or game genres should I say, so 5 out of 5 for that. Now as far as it goes for the quality of the content, well I'll talk about the content on this disc. Bomberman World, first of all, the gameplay is very enjoyable, great characters, controls, and sound effects as well. I mean, it's a great game. I mean, Bomberman World is really addictive, I think. So my excitement meter for that game would be 5 out of 5. So if you're a fan of Bomberman World, I would recommend you get this game. So Colin McRae Rally is the next game. Now I will admit, I did actually own this game before, back many years ago, but now it's no longer in my collection. So, I mean, of course, as you would have seen that in my gaming collection video, but anyway, regardless of that, the gameplay is standard for a racing game, and it's got great controls as well, and it's also got real-time controls for different weather environments as well. For example, I think it was the snow level I played, that might be in the video just now, and it's got great real-time controls for that weather environment, so my excitement meter for that would be 4 out of 5 overall. Next game, Dead or Alive. Now, what I like about this fighting game is there's a part of the gameplay which you might see here, is that the floor explodes when you're playing the game depending on the impact of the moves, which is quite unique. And the gameplay, yet again, it's standard for a fighting game. I mean, overall, apart from that one feature, it's pretty standard for a fighting game, and the controls are also really great as well. So my excitement meter for that would be 5 out of 5. I mean, I quite like fighting games, and Dead or Alive would have been a great game to get back in the day. Next demo, Death Trap Dungeon. Now, I will admit, the controls were not that great, in my opinion, personally. But the gameplay was also good. I mean, like, you're fighting off against different goblins and gremlins and different monsters within the dungeon, which is pretty cool, if you ask me. And my excitement meter for that, if the controls were more improved, excuse me, again, that's probably a demo, but maybe the controls were better improved in the full game. But as far as it goes for my excitement meter for this, it'd be 3 out of 5. Next demo, which is Gran Turismo. Now this is a very popular PS1 game, this one. It's got great controls and gameplay, and the gameplay is really standard for, well, a racing game, except you get different real model cars as well, which is fantastic. And that was just the start of the series, which really kicked it off into, well, the latest installment, which is coming out actually quite soon, Gran Turismo 7. So my excitement meter for Gran Turismo, the first one, would say 5 out of 5. I was really excited for that game. Now the next game, we go from good to quite bad. War Games. The gameplay is good, but it's not really for me personally. I mean, I'm going to try to be non-biased as I possibly can, but it's a strategy game, this. It's good gameplay, personally, but the game genre is not really for me personally. I mean, I think it's a kind of a strategy game. It's kind of that, I mean, it's a tactical shooter kind of strategy. The controls were okay as well. I mean, my excitement meter for that, if I'm being honest, is a below average 2 out of 5. I mean, that's just my opinion personally on War Games for PS1. And last and certainly not least is WCW Nitro. Now this was the wrestling game that was mentioned, or well, not mentioned, but this was a wrestling game. The controls were awful, and the gameplay was pretty bad for a wrestling game. So WCW Nitro is not really for me personally. So, and I do quite like wrestling games, I mean, especially the old ones, but my excitement meter for that would be probably 0 out of 5. I didn't really enjoy this demo that much. So my overall hype meter for this demo disc would be 3 out of 5. And the overall score, or in fact, actually no, sorry, quality of the content is 7 out of 10. And my overall score for this demo disc would be 15 out of 20 yet again. So that is number 9. Now moving on to number 8 is none other than PS1 UK Demo 27. Now, this demo disc was really enjoyable. I mean, even though the game genres weren't really varied, unlike the last demo, because I had platforming, racing and shooter games on this disc. So 3 out of 5 for that, for the variety of game genres. Now the content itself, of course we're going to start off with Crash Bandicoot 2. Now this is pretty much identical to the full game in terms of graphics. It's a different level compared to the Crash 1 demo, which is quite good. The controls are brilliant. I think they're really good. The music also sounds fantastic as well, especially in this beta stage as well. The slide jump, however, and I am going to be a bit nitpicky here, the slide jump in this demo makes Crash stay still for a brief second, and some sound effects were missing, but I mean, I don't really care that much about sound effects in Crash Bandicoot, but the slide jump I will be a bit nitpicky. If that was in the full game, that would have been a major issue, in my opinion. But that still doesn't stop my excitement for Crash Bandicoot 2, so my hype meter for that is 5 out of 5. Moving on to the next demo, Hercules. The controls are really good, the graphics look great for PS1, the music sounds great as well. Although, in my opinion, sometimes the controls take a little bit of time to respond. And on the other hand though, this is quite a long demo, and it shows off most of the level as displayed in the video, which is really good. Because it gives, yet again, elaborating on that point, players more time to explore the level if they're playing that demo for the first time. And me personally, my excitement meter for that game would be 5 out of 5. Moving on to the next game, we have Felony 1179. The controls are really good, the graphics are good, gameplay is also looks good, because, well, you're doing different missions. I mean, that's why it's really good. It kind of reminds me a bit of Grand Theft Auto or The Simpsons Hit and Run, which is why it's really good. Now, it could have possibly added an explanation of the total amount sign on the top right. I still didn't really understand what that was about. I'm not sure if whether I was supposed to cause damage in that demo or whether I wasn't supposed to cause damage. I'm not entirely sure. But if somebody can clarify that in the comments down below, then that'd be great. The music is also quite good as well. I mean, the rock-based track is really good. The animations are, I will admit this actually is quite a funny moment. The animations are funny and awkward when you're crashing, which is quite, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad feature, it's really funny actually, I quite like that. So, my hype meter for that would be 4 out of 5. Now next demo, G-Police. Now, I will admit, the controls, now I will admit this is a criticism I'm going to give to every demo disc on this list, which I should have done at the beginning, but I'm going to explain it here. The controls aren't really explained properly with the exception of one demo disc. In this particular demo, the controls aren't really explained, which is not really good, especially if a new player is playing that game. They may not like the game, but I mean, that's just me personally, but however, the game feels okay to play. There isn't really any music though, which makes the demo, like, well, sound a bit boring. Like, I mean, without the music, I mean, it just feels kind of empty in a way. The gameplay looks okay as well, and the AI isn't that fantastic in this demo, if I'm being honest. So, G-Police, I mean, I quite like them in the space shooting games, I mean, especially Star Wars Battlefront 2, but you're talking G-Police, I mean, back in the PS1 days. I would have liked it more maybe if the demo was a bit better, in my opinion. So my excitement meter for this one would be 2 out of 5. Next demo is Shadow Master. Now, the gameplay feels okay. The sound effects aren't really heard properly, in my opinion. The controls also feel really good as well for this game, and again, it's a shooting game, I mean, which I quite like. I mean, shooting games they're fine. I mean, I don't really mind shooting games generally. I mean, I think they're pretty good personally, depending on what the story is and what the gameplay is like. But Shadow Master, it's okay. It's fine. I mean, that's all I can really say about it. So my hype meter for that would be 3 out of 5. Now, next demo is Tokka. Or final demo, should I say. The controls are great, the gameplay looks really good as well, good weather effects as well. However, music could have possibly been added to this as well to make it better, personally. I know, I'm a huge music lover, I mean, I might as well just say that now. I mean, I might criticise the music here, which I've already done a few times, but regardless, my hype meter for this demo overall would be 4 out of 5 for the game itself. Now, I do own the full game of Tokka 1, as you may know, because I mean, I have Tokkas 1 and 2. So my overall hype meter for this demo disc would be 4 out of 5. And the quality of the content itself would be 8 out of 10. So my overall score for that again would be 15 out of 20. So that was number 8. Now number 7 is none other than PS1 Demo 1 version 4, the very first demo that I covered on this YouTube channel. Now, as far as it goes for the variety of game genres on this demo disc, we've got platformers, or platformers should I say, racing, fighting, sports, and a shooter. So, I'll give my score for that a bit later on, but talking about the content of this demo disc. First demo we have is Crash Bandicoot 1. Now, this isn't really different compared to the full game, except the 1 per fruit count. It's a bit slower, which is not really an issue. I mean, I don't really mind that. And of course I really enjoyed this demo because, as you obviously may know, I'm a fan of Crash Bandicoot and a fan of platformers in general. And of course Crash Bandicoot is different compared to other platformers, so I would say, I mean, it's not that different compared to the full game when playing that demo, so my hype rating for the release of this full game, or the full game, would be, well, 5 out of 5. So that's what I would say. Now, technically, Destruction Derby 2, I might as well talk about this. Now, technically this is a video, but this wouldn't have been good. It would have been better if it was a playable demo, personally, but because it's a video, I mean, I know I'm not going to talk about the videos on this, but because that was put in the game section, I might as well talk about it. It would have got me more excited if it was playable, but the game would have looked really good to play as well on a playable demo, because Destruction Derby 2 evolved a lot from Destruction Derby 1 in terms of like its soundtrack and its gameplay. It's really evolved a lot, so my hype meter for that, it would have been higher, but I would say it would be 3 out of 5. Next demo disc we have, or sorry, I keep saying that. Next demo is Wipeout 2097. Now, again, this is not different compared to the full game of this. The music is great. I enjoy the different choice of vehicles and weapons as well, so there's really no complaints about this demo personally. So my hype meter for that would be 5 out of 5. Now, we move on to monster trucks. I will say, this demo was quite unfulfilling. It could have hyped me more if I could have changed the camera angle and having other monster trucks to compete against. And the controls were sometimes off as well. And if they could have improved on these features, then it would have been a better demo. But for me personally, my hype meter for this would be 2 out of 5. Formula 1 is the next demo we move on to next. It looked brilliant, the music is really great as well. Again, standard gameplay for a Formula 1 game, I mean, it's Formula 1, I mean, what else do you expect? I mean, Formula 1 is a great sport, and the controls are really good as well. So, I would say my hype meter for this demo in particular would be 4 out of 5. Next demo we have is Tekken 2. Now, I do have the full game of Tekken 2. Now, the demo looked great, the controls looked great, and again, the thing is, like, this demo again didn't look much different compared to the full version, except you only had 2 playable characters on here, which is fair enough, because I mean, the 2 playable characters is a good way to show off a preview of the demo, because you don't want to have all the playable characters on there, because otherwise it would feel like a full game. So I would say my excitement meter for that is 5 out of 5. Now, Ridge Racer Revolution. The controls were a bit off sometimes, I will admit. It was pretty cool seeing the little like minigame before you started off the demo, the Galaga, or what was it, Galaxian? Galaxian, yeah, that's what it was. It was great seeing that Galaxian minigame as well, before starting off this demo. Drifting sometimes happens when steering quite heavily, when you're doing heavy steering, and it causes the car to be out of control. And that's really a feature that kind of turns me off from that game personally. The music sounds really great as well. I really like the music of Ridge Racer Revolution, as you might hear in the video just now. The gameplay is overall, it's really good, apart from the controls. So I would say my excitement meter for this demo overall would be 4 out of 5. Next demo we have is Power Soccer. Now, the gameplay is standard enough for a football game, it really is, but this does not go without any criticisms I'm going to give this. First of all, there was a loud high-pitched noise in this demo which was off-putting, and the controls were pretty bad as well, in my opinion. and the gameplay was also quite slow as well for a football game. I mean, again, this may be early PS1 days, but still, I think it could have been way better than that. So my hype meter for this would be 0 out of 5. I know that sounds a bit harsh, but again, I didn't like this demo that much, I mean, in my opinion. Now, Battle Arena Toshinden 2 is the next demo. The controls were quite stiff. The gameplay does look good though, I will admit that. I mean, it's quite unique for a fighting game because you're using swords and everything like that. And fighting arenas are also look really good as well, and the soundtrack is fantastic as well. In fact, I've even actually listened to the full version, like the full version of this track that's playing in the background right now, like with the fight scene. And my excitement meter for this demo overall is 3 out of 5. Now, Die Hard is the next game. It's a great rail shooter, I do like it, although it can take a bit of time to get used to the actual controls of the game. That's my only little nitpick about that demo. And it's got arcade style as well. I mean, I quite like arcade style games. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I used to play quite a lot of arcade games back when I was younger, like especially like spending coins on like arcade machines. I mean, that was really good. So anyway, regardless of that, my excitement meter for this demo would be 4 out of 5. Now, next demo, Descent. It's a good shooter. I quite enjoy it. It's a really great shooter. The controls are a bit off sometimes. And my overall hype meter for this, I mean, like, I don't know actually. I mean, there's really nothing much else left to say, but the demos are great. The gameplay is really good. So I would say my hype meter for this would be 3 out of 5. The last and certainly not least, we have Aqua Golf. It's a good golfing game. I will admit that, it's a great golfing game. Probably not as good as its sequel, but again, this is the demo we're talking about here, but I would say my overall hype meter for this would be 4 out of 5. And so overall for Demo 1 version 4 1996, I would say my overall hype score for it would be 3 out of 5. Now, talking about the actual variety game genre score on here. Now, I will admit there are a bit too many racing demos on this disc. If it was more balanced out, or say for example, like if there was another platformer on there alongside Crash Bandicoot, then it could have been better. Or maybe another fighting, no, actually no, maybe not another fighting game, but maybe another sports game, for example, or heck, maybe even another genre altogether could have been brilliant. I mean, in my opinion anyway. So 4 out of 5 for the variety game genre score. And the overall quality of content would be 8 out of 10. So overall my score for that would be 15 out of 20 yet again. So now that was number 7. So moving on to number 6, we have PS1 Demo 30, or UK Demo 30 should I say. Now this demo it's quite short, which is, I mean, it's not a complaint that I have about it. I mean, the variety of game genres we have on here are, I mean, despite the short demo, it's got quite a few game genres on here which are quite good. A third-person shooter, fighting, snowboarding, and strategy. So I would say 4 out of 5 for the variety of game genres for this demo disc. Now, as far as goes for the content itself, now the first demo we have is Armored Core. The controls are really good, the graphics are okay. The gameplay is pretty straightforward in this demo. I mean, I think it gives you kind of a tutorial as well, which is pretty handy. And the music is pretty good as well. So, my hype meter for this demo disc would be, oh sorry, this demo in particular, I keep making that mistake, 4 out of 5. Bloody Roar is the next demo. It's got great controls, the graphics are good as well, and the gameplay is quite simple for a fighter. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. And the music is also pretty good as well. So my overall hype meter for that would be 5 out of 5. Cool Boarders 2 is the next demo. Now the snowboarding, it's a unique game genre. I mean, it really is. I mean, I haven't really seen that many snowboarding games nowadays. I mean, there are others like, I mean, not only the Cool Boarders series, but also SSX Tricky or the SSX series, I think. And the controls aren't the best, but they're okay. And the gameplay is pretty straightforward as well. I mean, you're pulling off snowboarding tricks and just gaining points in the game. It's pretty straightforward, and it's also really good as well. The graphics look okay as well for that game as well. So again, my overall hype meter for that demo disc would be, or sorry, this demo, I need to stop saying that, 4 out of 5. Yeah, take a shot every time I mention demo disc at the end of each demo I talk about. So yeah, drinking game. It's turned into a drinking game now. Speaking of which, I need a drink of water right now actually. Hold on a second. That's better. Okay, moving on. We have Red Alert. It's a simple layout for a strategy game. Now, I will admit this much. I mean, like, I know I said before earlier in the video, I'm not a huge fan of strategy games. But again, I'm going to try and be as non-biased as I possibly can here, while still stating my opinion. But I mean, I don't know, that seemed kind of contradictory on my part when I said that. But the game would be played better on a PC, in my opinion. On a console, it just doesn't feel right, in my opinion, when playing it on the console. I mean, that's just me personally, but playing it on a PC feels more home, I think. And my hype meter for this score would be 3 out of 5. And my overall hype meter for this demo disc is 4 out of 5. And the quality of the content itself on the demo disc is 8 out of 10. And my overall high score for this demo is 16 out of 20. So that was number 6. Number 5 is none other than PS1 UK Demo 38. So this demo disc, it's really good actually. There's a lot of game genres on here. I mean, we've got a platformer, action, sports, music, action adventure, puzzle, and a fighting game. So it's a lot of genres yet again, like PS1 UK Demo 34. So 5 out of 5 for that. And the content itself, we start off with Abe's Exodus. It's a sequel to, well, Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. The gameplay is brilliant. The graphics look absolutely fantastic as well. Like transitioning from cutscenes to actual gameplay is really smooth and really, what's the word? Well, it's really smooth. I mean, it transitions very well, and the controls are great as well. So my overall hype meter for Abe's Exodus is 5 out of 5. Moving on to the next demo, we have B-Movie. Now the gameplay is pretty good for B-Movie. I mean, like shooting different aliens, I think that's what it was, if I remember correctly. Excuse me, trying to stop the aliens. Oh, pardon me again. No, pardon me again. Sorry, I'm full of wind today, everybody. But the graphics are okay. And the controls aren't quite... They're not quite as smooth as previous shooting games that I've played before on the past demo discs. But it's still fine. So my overall hype meter for that is 3 out of 5. Next demo we have is ISS Pro 98. Again, another football game. It's pretty standard for a football game. The controls are really good. They're much better than, well, Power Soccer, without a doubt. So again, my hype meter for this demo would be 3 out of 5. Sorry, there's nothing really much I would say about the football demos, to be honest. I mean, they are what they are. They're football games. Fluid. Now, Fluid is a music game. This is the music game that was mentioned, well, that is the music genre. So, the game layout could have been better, personally, and the graphics are okay. So my hype meter for this one is 2 out of 5 because there's really nothing much you can do on this demo disc, personally. Now, moving on to another demo, we have Medieval. Now, the gameplay is brilliant, the graphics are great, the controls are also fantastic as well, and the music is brilliant as well. It's a brilliant demo. I think this has really convinced me to get Medieval one day on the PlayStation Store, because I think it's available on PlayStation Store and PS3 on where I live. So, that being said, my hype meter for Medieval is 5 out of 5. Next demo we have Mr. Domino, or No One Can Stop Mr. Domino, if you want to be specific. Now, it's good puzzle gameplay, and the graphics are really good as well, so my hype meter for that would be 4 out of 5. And the last demo that I want to cover here on this demo disc is as follows. It's The Unholy Wars, what it's called. And this is quite a unique fighting game, personally. I mean, I've never really seen anything like it. It feels like a platformer. Well, you're jumping across different platforms. The gameplay is really great. It's really unique. controls are great as well, although sometimes it can take a bit of a while to get used to as well. And the sound effects in this demo remind me of well, Pandemonium. I mean, in a way it does, because I mean it's developed by Crystal Dynamics. So my overall hype meter for that is 5 out of 5. So, and my overall hype score for this demo disc is 4 out of 5. And the quality of the content itself is 7 out of 10 because of some lack of gameplay features on this demo disc in particular. And my overall score for this would be 16 out of 20. 16 out of 20, let me be more clear than that. So now moving on to number 4, we have PS1 UK Demo 42. Now this one had quite a lot of great games on here, it really did. Like the variety of game genres are as follows, like puzzle, stealth, snowboarding, racing and space combat. So a good, really good variety of game genres, so we got 4 out of 5 for that one, in my opinion. And the content itself, we have Devil Dice, which is the first game on here. In fact, actually no, I mean, I will admit there is a game that I've already talked about that's on this disc, which is Scars, but that's already been talked about, so I'm not going to include that. It's a fun puzzle game, Devil Dice. It's very addictive as well. I mean, pretty much what you do in that game is, like, I think you line up a certain amount of die together to get an overall score, like to get a combo, I think. I think that's how it works. I mean, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, for those who have played Devil Dice before, please feel free to clarify or correct me on that in the comments, because I think I'm probably wrong about that when I say that. Or maybe I'm right, I don't know, but I think I'm probably wrong about it. But anyway, my overall hype meter for this is 4 out of 5, because if it's really addictive, then you've got a great puzzle game. So, moving on, we have the first Metal Gear Solid. Now this is a brilliant stealth game. It really is. It's a brilliant stealth game, or demo should I say. The story is quite compelling. I mean, you really want to know what happens next when you play the demo. It doesn't obviously give you the full thing, obviously. I mean, of course it's a demo, I mean, I'm stating the obvious, but the story really makes you want to get the game as well. I mean, it really makes you interested in that. The controls are also great as well, even though I clearly sucked at the game. As you can probably see in my footage, I completely sucked at it, and the cutscenes, which you might not see here because they've probably been skipped because of the, well, potentially like copyright reasons, is they're fantastic. I mean, they really are really good. And it features like the actual voice actors as well. I mean, like alongside like earlier PS1 games as well. So my overall hype meter for Metal Gear Solid is 5 out of 5. Now moving on to the next demo, we have Cool Borders 3. Now I talked about Cool Borders 2 a bit earlier, but the third game here, the gameplay is great. I think it's pretty much the same as it was for Cool Borders 2. I mean, there's nothing much different compared to it. The controls were okay, they were fine. The graphics are also fine as well. So my hype meter for that is 3 out of 5. Now, the next demo, Max Power Racing. The gameplay is good. The controls are also really good as well. And the graphics are good as well. I mean, it's pretty standard for a racing game. I mean, the gameplay itself, I mean, is really good. So I would say, yeah, I mean, it's really good. 4 out of 5 from my hype meter for that. V2000, the last demo on this disc. I will admit the controls were a bit awkward at times. The gameplay is also, however, the gameplay is really good as well. However, on the other hand, the graphics weren't that great as well for a PS1 game. I mean, that's just my opinion there for that demo. And my hype meter for that would be 2 out of 5. I just didn't really enjoy V2000 that much. I mean, I didn't enjoy that demo that much. So my overall hype meter for this demo disc is 4 out of 5. And my overall score for this demo is 16 out of 20, yet again. So now moving on to the next demo disc, when you're in the end of this list here, everybody, is, well, number 3 we have PS1 UK Demo 40. Now, as a kid, I really liked this demo disc, but now looking at the demos on my list now, there's probably, well, there's 2 that I like better obviously than this one, which you'll find out what they are at some point. Now, the variety of game genres here we have are racing games, puzzle, platformers, and music. So it's a good variety in game genres, so I would say 3 out of 5 for that. The content itself, we start off with Tokka 2. The graphics are great. The controls are also quite good as well. I mean, despite the slow start that you have at the beginning of the race. I mean, again, that might be me just being a bit too harsh with the accelerator at the beginning of the race. And the gameplay is pretty standard for this type of game as well. I mean, there's nothing really much else left to say about it. I mean, the real-time weather environment's also really good as well. In fact, it's better than Office and its predecessor. I mean, it's obviously been developed a lot more since we're into 1998 for this game. So my excitement meter for this is 4 out of 5. Formula 1 98 is the next demo. The gameplay, again, is standard for a Formula 1 game. The graphics obviously have evolved from the previous games, or the previous game I talked about. Controls are also really great as well. So nothing much else left to say about that. So my hype meter for that is 4 out of 5. Now, next demo we have is Lemmings. It's a great puzzle game, although it might require practice as well for particular levels. I mean, again, that's something the player can do to improve their skills on that. I mean, particularly those who are fans of Lemmings, or really dedicated, or who really want to dedicate their time into practicing these stages. The music is also really great as well. I mean, I think I recognised the music before. I think it was I can't remember the name of it though. The name of that music is in the demo. The graphics are okay in gameplay as well, although the cutscene at the very beginning of this demo as well it's really good. I mean, the graphics for that cutscene are really good. And my overall excitement meter for this demo would be 4 out of 5. Now, the next demo we move on to is Crash Bandicoot 3. It's a brilliant platformer. There isn't a riding level this time, and we're back to platforming in this demo like Crash 1, which is really good. I'm not saying that I'm not a huge fan of the riding levels, but I just feel like it's really good to actually get a feel of like the platforming controls. I mean, that's something Crash 2 maybe could have done. I mean, that's something I could have talked about a bit earlier, but the controls are also really great as well. And the music is fantastic in this beta state. I'm assuming this was the beta track that was used in the actual demo of this game, or on this demo disc. So my overall hype meter for Crash Bandicoot 3, 5 out of 5. Again, no surprise there, but anyway, music is the next demo. The only thing I can say about that is it's a great opportunity to be creative. That's it. That's all I can really say about music. I mean, my hype meter for that is 5 out of 5. Now, Cyberdeck is the next demo. Now, controls, they're not that great personally. The graphics are alright, but they're not that great. And the gameplay, I mean, from my point of view, I don't know how many people like Cyberdeck, but the gameplay is quite unique because it's combining platforming and snowboarding, but while I think that is unique, it's probably best to leave the two genres like separate unless it really works, because from my point of view it really doesn't work because of the controls not being that great. That's just like from my point of view there. Prevent anyone, again, feel free to disagree with me in the comments below, because I mean, I'm pretty sure like all of you that are watching this will probably have different opinions of these games, or some of you may have never even played them before and might be willing to try them out. You may be inspired to try them out. But anyway, my excitement meter for this would be 3 out of 5. And the last demo or playable demo on this disc is Motor Racer 2. Now, I will admit, I'm a little disappointed. I mean, that I'm not, like, that Motor Racer 1 wasn't on a demo disc like before. From what I understand, I don't think Motor Racer 1 was on the previous demo disc before, which is quite disappointing from my point of view. But anyway, Motor Racer 2. It's got a brilliant soundtrack. The gameplay is great. It's fantastic. I mean, again, it's standard for like a motorbike game. I mean, it's brilliant. And the controls are really smooth as well. I really like the controls, especially like the drifting on the, I think it's a dirt bike I think you get to play as in this demo, which is it's really good. And the controls are really smooth, especially when you're drifting. So my overall excitement meter for that would be 5 out of 5. And my overall hype score for this demo is 4 out of 5. And the quality of the content itself is 9 out of 10. And my overall score, 16 out of 20. So that was number 3. Number 2, we have PS1 UK Demo 25. Now, this demo, I'm getting lists up every time. I mean, I've got quite a lot of documents open up here, like for each of these demo discs I want to talk about, open up the brief reviews, but PS1 UK Demo 25. As far as goes for the variety of gaming genres, like, there's only 3 different ones on here. We've got platformers, rhythmic games, and racing games. So, 3 out of 5 for that, because I mean, it's a good amount of genres from my point of view. The content on the PS1 UK Demo 25 is as follows. We have Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. The game looks really good, and the gameplay is really unique as well for a platforming game, because like you're guiding allies into freeing them, like the story of this game is Abe is trying to escape from like the factory because they're trying to turn him and all of his friends into like food. That's basically what it is. He's trying to like guide them out of the factories and other parts of the world, I think. But in this demo in particular, it's just the factory. And the game speak as well is quite unique, because I mean, you get to communicate with your fellow allies, and you get to trick other like enemies as well by either using a telepathic ability, I think. And the controls are really good as well. The music is also fantastic as well, especially the introduction cutscene as well. Although it's not the full track, it's altered quite a bit for the demo. So my excitement meter for Oddworld Abe's Odyssey is 5 out of 5. Now the next demo we have is Croc, Legend of the Gobos. The music is really good. I really like the music. Although the controls aren't that great from my point of view. They feel like tank controls. I mean, it's like you're controlling a tank in this game. And also like as well how you have the opportunity to clear the level that you're playing in this demo 100%, and it's not timed as well. I mean, again, I could be wrong on this, because maybe I can play it 100% pretty quickly, but the camera angle is sometimes a bit awkward because of the controls being a bit awkward. However, this is resolvable with the circle button though, so an issue is resolved in this demo as well. Because I mean, if you press the circle button, you can like turn Croc around, and the camera will adjust itself like very quickly. So my overall hype meter for Croc is 4 out of 5. Now we move on to Parappa the Rapper. Now this is the rhythmic game that's on this disc, and it can be challenging for new players. Although that being said though, the first level is pretty easy actually, because I mean it's got really easy rhythms in there. The music is very catchy in this demo, and the graphics also look really good for PS1, on PS1 as well for this game. And that's all I can say really about Parappa the Rapper. I mean, I've been involved with music for many years. I've had years of music experience, and I really enjoy Parappa the Rapper. So if you really like rhythmic games, I would say this one's for you. So my excitement meter for Parappa the Rapper is 5 out of 5. Next demo we have is Test Drive 4. Now, I will admit this, the steering can be quite stiff in this demo. The oncoming traffic when racing can be a bit of a distraction, and the weather environment along with the graphics is kind of average personally, but the gameplay is still pretty good. It's still pretty standard for a racing game, which is what I like. So my overall hype meter for Test Drive 4 is 3 out of 5. And the hype meter for this demo disc alone is 4 out of 5. And my overall score is 16 out of 20. That's all I will say about that. So now we move on to number 1. The top PS1 demo on this list, out of all the ones that I've done my best to briefly review, and that is none other than, if I can get it open, PS1 UK Demo 23. This is the number 1 best UK demo disc after briefly reviewing like all that I can. Now the variety of game genres that we have on this disc are puzzle, sports, adventure and racing, which is a great amount of games. Now the content itself, first off we will start with Kurushi. The gameplay for Kurushi is really challenging, and it had rules and demonstrations put in place before I played the demo, which is really good. Especially like if a new player was playing this demo and they didn't know what they were doing, at least they would have rules and demonstrations like for them before they played the demo, which is really good. So that way they would know what they were doing without like jumping straight into the game immediately. And this was a full level as well on this demo as well, so not timed, which is really good. The music was really sinister at the beginning, and it was really tense throughout the whole way. It could have been more music added to the demo itself, personally. But the gameplay is really unique for a puzzle game. I mean, I really like Kurushi. It's a pity that it's not on the full game isn't on the PlayStation Store, and where I live. So my overall hype meter for that would be 5 out of 5. I really like Kurushi. I mean, I think it's a great puzzle game. It can be really addictive as well. Now then, moving on to the next game, we have Astro Golf 2. Now, what I liked about this demo is it gave players the chance to experience gameplay, and it gives them like a full hole to play on as well. I mean, similar to the first Astro Golf is actually it's the exact same thing actually. And the game also looks really good as well. I mean, it looks a bit better than this the first game in a way, and the commentator was really good as well. It was more accurate, I think, than the first commentator, more talkative anyway than the first commentator in Astro Golf 1. So my overall hype meter for that would be 5 out of 5. Next demo we have is Overboard. Now, what I liked about this is that this felt like a pirate adventure game, which is what I quite like a lot. And the weapons, the choice of weapons you get are really good as well. Like you got like cannonballs, triple cannonballs, and I think you get a missile as well, or a rocket. The one thing I will say is that the controls are a bit off sometimes from my point of view for this demo. Again, they could have been improved in the full game, I'm not entirely sure, but the music for the area sounds really good as well, and the game also looks fantastic as well for an early PS1 game. So my overall hype meter for that would be 4 out of 5 because of the controls being a bit off. Now the last demo that we have on this demo disc is Rallycross. The steering wasn't that effective personally. If you flipped over, like say for instance, if you flipped over in the game, like the game would not automatically reset your car to where it was. Like sometimes it wouldn't really do that, and sometimes the gameplay was a bit slow. So Rallycross wasn't all that great personally, but my overall excitement meter for that is still 3 out of 5 for that, because it's a racing game. I mean, it was still good regardless, but I mean there were some bits that could have been improved to make it really good. So my overall hype meter for PS1 UK Demo 23 is 4 out of 5, and the quality of the content is 9 out of 10, and again the score for the variety of game genres, if I haven't mentioned it already, is 4 out of 5, and my overall mark for that, or score, is 17 out of 20. That's the highest score that a demo has had on out of all the ones that I've reviewed, like the best I could. So how long was this? Oh wow, that was nearly 50 minutes. Wow, nearly an hour. Wow, this is going to be quite a long list, or top 10 list. So overall guys, that's it for PS1, the best PS1 demos, or top 10 PS1 demos. So thank you all very much for watching this video. I know this has been a long time coming, but hey, it's up and uploaded right now. So thank you all very much for watching. Please feel free to like if you enjoyed, comment down below for your thoughts on these demo discs, and please feel free to subscribe as well for more upcoming videos on my channel. Till then guys, this has been Clarinetgamer here, signing off. Hope you all have a great day wherever you are, and I shall speak to you later. Till then, goodbye.